and make it. And again, so as I was saying, like, hey, just because you have a dom, or just because you are in a dom sub dynamic, also doesn't mean that you're having sex with that person.
So if that's not the aim, what's
So
the
the way
aim?
I look at my dynamic is that I am the curator of your sexual museum. So there's a wing of your sex museum that you want to explore, and you want to put uh, like
The
masterpieces and
curator of your
artworks and
series. That's hard.
exhibitions. Like
That's
I
hard.
want to help you kind of create those moments that you remember, that you say,
Yo,
"Oh, I remember
er,
I was doing this, and like that was the thing, and I remember how I
yo,
felt in that moment and when I experienced this."
yo, King.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's a exclusive thing where it's like we're never gonna do it, but it's not a requirement, by any stretch of the imagination. Again, it varies from dom to dom and sub to sub. There are some subs that want that need that, and there are others that don't. If I take my sub out and they want to experience, multiple partners, right? They might be like physically exhausted and done. And so like I need to understand and
Mm,
respect that and know their limitation and say like, all right, let's work on some aftercare and let's get you to a point where I can leave you and you're gonna be okay. And you're not gonna, hurt yourself or be hurt, because there's a such thing as called sub drop, which yep.
sub
So
drop.
you can, because again, like you're in
I need to
this,
be
you're in
writing
a
this down.
scene where you're really pushing somebody's boundaries, and they can experience, really really intense highs in that moment. And then if you just don't adequately care for them and just kind of leave them, then they plummet. And so like you can have a very bad experience where you can say, for instance, right, if you're doing something with group play, where you know you might have got this really high euphoric sensation and feeling, having multiple hands on you, being penetrated by multiple partners, in different places that, ordinarily you wouldn't find yourself doing. If you're not properly cared for and you're kind of just like left to your own devices after that, you might have a bunch of intrusive thoughts that are like, what kind of person am I? Like, I'm a bad person. I'm a whore, whatever, whatever. And then you plummet and you spiral into this really negative zone. That can be very detrimental. People, again, if you don't know people's medical history, you don't know their, uh, mental health backgrounds, that kind of stuff. Like you might have somebody OD, that same night if you're not careful and if you're not appropriately like managing some of those things. So again, like when I say it's another relationship, it is another whole relationship where it's like you have to take ownership and responsibility for this person's well being, because technically, like they're entrusting you with their care.